Do you know where the term hail thyself comes from? You may have guessed it on the Latin or whatever, but it's from the Satanic Temple. In fact, that is what they like to say instead of, hail. Being self-serving is genuinely the root cause of so much evil. Think about it for a minute. Why did that kid steal your donut at school? Because his interests were self-serving. He was more interested in serving himself than you enjoying a donut or being basically courteous. Let's get a little bit more extreme for a second. Why did that child have their most basic needs neglected? Why? Why did a parent neglect the most basic needs of their child? Because their interests were self-serving. They're more interested in their indulgences than taking care of the child, right? Obvious examples include, like, some of you may have been unfortunate enough to go through this. The parents just go out clubbing all night and the kid starves, or this is more common than you think. They'll like sedate kids with like NyQuil and alcohol, and usually alcohol, so that they can go out and serve themselves, basically. And this can go on and on and on, but we don't need to in order to get the introductory point across here. Being self-serving is genuinely cringe and evil. I guess I should say genuinely evil and cringe. So then, am I evil for quote-unquote focusing on myself? No, of course you're not. We just need to distinguish the difference between self-serving, being self-serving, and focusing on yourself. I'll get straight into it. Focusing on yourself simply means to focus on what you can do to make yourself better. Problem is that so many people think that just making yourself feel good equals making yourself better. And therefore, when we tell someone to go focus on themselves, we mean for them to go and indulge mainly in vices and stuff like that, instead of other people, or I should probably say, whilst ignoring other people. A better word would be neglecting other people. Here's how I like to quote unquote focus on myself. I think in my actions I'm going to be doing to focus on myself, what will be the result of these actions? Like, what's the end game? What is the result of my actions to focus on myself? Specifically, personally, I try to tailor these results to better enable myself to help others. This is because I've genuinely found that one of the main keys, and I do mean main keys to happiness, is doing good for others, doing good things for others. Really, actually good things.
What specifically can I do? Ooh.
In order to do good things, you just need to do things that will make you more capable, right?
Let me explain.
But first, pause! Now, before I give you these examples, I want to explain a simple metaphor that's helped me a lot. When it comes to moving forward, you can think of yourself as you would in a car, right? With the intention to move forward or to get somewhere. Now, when you're in a car, you have two things that influence you moving forward. You have the gas and you have the brakes. Now, say your foot is on the brake, or someone in the passenger seat is pulling on the emergency brake, or you're in park, right? All of these things are also metaphors, by the way, so think deeply into it, right? Someone in the passenger seat pulling on the brake. Do you have someone in your passenger seat pulling your e-brake? Do you have someone, which is yourself, putting your foot on the brake? Are you just in park and you're just revving and stressing your engine? Now, what happens in any of these instances? Your foot is on the brake, e-brake, you're in park. What happens? That's right, moving forward, even when you're pressing on the gas, even if it's pedal to the metal, bro, is not easy whatsoever. You stutter, peel, or just rev and stress your engine, etc. Now, what you need to do to move forward is not be pressing on the brake when you don't need to. Obviously, you need to press on the brake for things like filling up your metaphorical gas tank, or when you're at a metaphorical red light, so to speak. But in simple terms, you're trying to get point A to point B. You're trying to move forward. In order to do so, you need to not press on the brake when you don't need to, as well as be using the gas, at least until you're able to get up to a cruising speed. And once you get that momentum, you'll not only have to use less gas, right? And I don't just mean pedal, I mean fuel economy. You'll have to think about it less, but you will have to maintain that momentum, which does require an amount of gas. See how this metaphor ties together so nicely? See why I like it so much? See how well I like you so much? Now, this, along with direction, think Google Maps, right, is how you get somewhere. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, for the examples, which you may have forgotten about by now. Here they are. They include, but are not limited to, improving your mental health, which obviously includes severing things that keep you down, as well as increasing the things that are healthier, right? Speaking of, another example is simply getting healthier. I do mean physically, and this will affect you mentally. Did I say mental health on that last one? Let me emphasize that again. Improving your mental health is a big one and should probably be the first one. Many of the bad things we experience are symptoms of poor mental health, and we need to figure out what actually nurtures good mental health. So, things that are keeping you down, less. Things that are actually longer term, bringing you up more. And this is kind of like a loop, right? You can feed the loop, the cycle, by getting physically healthier, right? Which includes improving your sleep, your exercise, your diet, and your mindfulness. And yes, I did say those things in order and with intentionality, okay? They are important in that order, and if you get those 4 things straight, you're golden. It's so true. I will be doing a video specifically on that stuff. A few videos on all of this stuff. It goes deep, confirmed in that way. Another example is making getting more money possible and easier, right? Which means working on skills and knowledge. Money is an amazing tool for doing most things, obviously. We know this, okay? And it's very important that you have a healthy financial life as well. It's part of the cycle. It's part of the cycle. And in simple terms, that's about it. Remember this acronym alongside all this. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. A friend of mine in anatomy class taught me this, and it served me well ever since. That, in conjunction with a math teacher telling me in class once that you should keep things as simple as possible on tests to leave less opportunity for mistakes, has taught me that keeping things simple does wonders. It really does. And in reality, focusing on yourself, and I do mean actually focusing on yourself in the right ways, is just about that simple. In simple terms, at least. Yo, Mr. Richards, hey. Yo, look at those hands. Oh, I forgot something. My fault. I love you, specifically you. If you want to get in touch in any way, shape, or form, I'm here for you. In the description is all of my contact information. So if you're also trying to commit identity fraud, it's probably a good idea to check that out. Give it a go. I love you, specifically you. Do the hard tasks, especially when you're a crewmate.